Hello everyone. I don't know if you've got me. There we fucking go. Oh, fucking hell. In the UK. Oh. There we go. Oh my god. What are those technical issues? I do not know what the technical issues were. You've got 1 million streams now on my profile, so I'm going to have to delete those, so hold on. Hold on, guys. Sorry, I'm kind of in the middle of doing 1 million things. I'm just looking at my new... I've got a new microphone stand from Rode microphone stand. It's bloody brilliant. How does this work? What's this? I'm just now currently trying to set up a new microphone stand, but we move. I could have probably done it when I was trying to fix the issues, but I don't know. Ooh. Okay, right, let's just get back to the stream. So cluttered. Oh, sorry, yeah, my desktop is really cluttered. 1 second. It's because it's just re-downloaded everything, so I don't know what's on there. You can see it's just like everything I ever had on Steam. Welcome back, Big Popper. Feels good to be back, finally. I have such a loud... yeah. What is going on with your screen? You guys are really intrigued by the screen. Hold on. I can see... You know what? Just you guys can watch me do some brilliant work here. I'm going to set up my microphone, which I think goes in like this. How does this go on? Wait, what the fuck? Okay, this is not as simple as I first thought. Reload chat display. Is the chat not displaying? Oh, that's funny. How do I reload it? Okay, let's see if the chat display works now. Yeah, there we go. We are well and truly back, baby. We're back in the game. Now I've got to find some nuts and bolts. Some washers. There are no washers in here. There are no fucking washers. Oh, bloody hell. My microphone arm is not as easy to set up as I first had thought. It just shows a very simple picture. But... I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. Because it's fucking upside down. I can hear just fine. We've all been floppy without you. I need to move my mic closer. Do I? Is it really, really quiet? To get out of talking to us. Bloody hell, no burgers. Yeah, I had no burgers whilst I was in Montreal. They're actually banned in Canada due to the behaviour of the damned American government. Hold on, it probably makes sense for me to do... Oh! I hope you guys are enjoying the tech stream. Which way? It's meant to go this way. No, it's meant to go this way, but then it faces. Like this. Okay. It is so quiet, is it? Maybe I should boost the volume. How is it so quiet? Is it really so quiet? Ooh. Maybe I've got to... Hold on 1 second. I'll be like kind of... this is kind of just a first stream back. Ooh. Audio. Compressor. Is it really, really quiet? How about now? I don't know. How about now? Is this turning it down? Is this turning it down? Or does this turn it up? I don't know. Am I louder? Am I louder? Missed you, man. I missed you all too. I am just having a troubling stream right now. Hi, Chris. Hi, chat. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. God, that was a chaotic fucking TikTok stream, wasn't it? Yeah, as always. I will move away from doing them, because I do prefer this kind of life, and I prefer the interaction on YouTube, as many of you know. I'm just going to twist these in and see if I can get some luck. Is that in? Hold on. Right, there we go. Here we go. We're moving. We're moving loose. I blame the DXRs. Who doesn't blame the DXRs? Yeah, I mean, when your answer to everything is just utopia. But to be honest, I just did a bad job in that. Like, it was very easy to sort of challenge what he was saying much better than I did. So, fuck it. But who cares? It's a fucking TikTok debate. Still, he kind of... Oh, there we go. Right. And then I got to apply one last bit. Are you guys enjoying me building a microphone? Yeah, I like the fast Q&A style. I think that is good. Okay, right. This is going to be loud, probably. Sorry. Sorry if you can hear some cogs turning. I'm trying to get this off. Because this mic stand is so shit. Oh, hello, guys. God, this is on time. Oh! How about now? How's it saying? The things I do for you guys on stream, I'm gonna have to disconnect my mic here. This was so stupid. Hold on. Oh, whoa. How's the volume? Is it still really quiet for you guys? Because I think it should be better. I want to adjust this slightly. There we go. Is this better? I think it probably should. But why is it slowly... Hello, everyone. This should be better, theoretically. Is this better? I don't know if I talk into the side. Stand, but there we go. Is this better? I think it probably should. But why is it slowly... Hello, everyone. This should be better, theoretically. Is this better? Yeah, you can hear me. Okay, it's not an IKEA mic, behave. How do I want this? I probably should have pre-planned this to do it a bit better, but oh well. I'm just, the Brit with the mic has logged on. You are hiding a time machine from me. Of course I am, DXR. I just don't know where I talk into. I don't know if I talk into the side. Hey, it's not an IKEA mic, behave. How do I want this? I probably should have pre-planned this to do it a bit better, but... I'm just listening to myself now. Welcome back, guys. Cool to be back. Feels weird. New PC, new microphone, new everything, really. You sound fine. Good. And there is the picture back as well. So we have everything now. Might not be the longest stream today. Been having a few fucking technical issues, but we move. God. Oh, words repeating. No, it's repeating because I was listening to myself. And there is the picture back as well. So we have everything now. I'm back. You're the one that left. Well, welcome back to the streams. Probably going to take a while to get back up to what we previously had. It's a new mic, very clear. Yeah, it's a new mic. It cost a lot more than the previous one. Actually, it didn't cost that much more. Noxolotl was thoroughly enjoying my previous stream. He said, good stream. Thanks, Noxolotl. Maybe I'll just play CS instead. You're rolling, Chris. Yeah, we're moving. So we got this new microphone, and I don't know if I talk into the side, because someone was like previously, no, don't talk into the side or talk into the front. I don't think that's actually making a difference. I can set up a noise gate in the future as well, but yeah, it's good. You're rolling, Chris. Yes, it's so nice when not everyone here is called DXR. Yeah, it's slightly easier to understand who you're speaking to, definitely. I mean, I spoke to all of the DXRs. Let's play Vertigo. I'm not playing fucking Vertigo. No Vertigo. Awful map. Oh, I've accidentally just turned off my stream, which I didn't want to do. We'll do the Wordle so we can get back into things. From the New York Crimes to all of the... I'm starting with front. Gloop. No. Globe. Wome. Certified Vertigo hacker. I never hacked on Vertigo. Just Google the name of the mic and front or side address. Yeah. Certified. Yeah. No American burgers with Argentine beef. Drone. Glorp. A drone. What a guess. I know I've already used the... I'm not very good at this. Crone. Phone. The microphone keeps slowly falling down, and I don't know why. I'm not sure what's going on here. Okay, maybe I can tighten it here, and that's what needs to be done. I think this is fine. Whose? Whose? Oh! I think it'll be... Because it's probably not that. So it's... It can't be whole. Phone. Phone. No, it can't be phone. Has to be something with... I think it's that. But... New PC, new mic, new mic attitude. Yeah. Awoke. It's awoke. Yeah, you're right. Well done. That's a brilliant guess, Ghost. Okay, right. Let's get right into the news. I couldn't see anything where the W was at the end. Awoke is good. Fantastic guess. I think we're going to have to work to get the viewers back up here. It's not the best start to the stream. DXRs. I'm just listening. Let's play Vertigo. I'm not playing fucking Vertigo. And now I can take this shitty mic stand off and never use it for the rest of my fucking life. Nice guess, Ghost. Indeed, yeah. I recently saw a video of Chris explaining that Crane is the scientifically best opener. Yes, Crane is the best opener. What's your Premier rating? Bro, I don't even have a fucking Premier rating. I've never played. I'm just on time. No, I'm just very off time. Right. So, let's get into the first story. So, we'll do the train attack first. So in case you hadn't heard, because you're not from the UK or you don't care about Brit politics, there was a big stabbing attack on a train. Wait, what order did I put them in? Unk keeping the volume down today. It's just the mic. It's just very good. Ouija is also a very good opener because you get like a multitude of letters and unusual ones as well, U and A. So you can normally tell because you get 3. So we'll watch a news video. Of course we'll watch a YouTube video. This guy looks interesting. Okay.
So when the train came into the station, I didn't see anything immediately on the platform. I recognised that the train was not supposed to be on the platform, so I tapped in to enter to see what was going on. As I walked onto the platform, I could see people standing in the doorways of the train looking a bit confused and a little bit distressed. As I looked to my left, I spotted a young lad who was laying on the floor in the train door area.
I guess I should give the context. Basically, a train yesterday evening, I think it was now, was attacked by someone with a knife who went on a rampage. And now this lad is telling us about his eyewitness experience.
He then sort of slid back into the train. I could see blood on his face. I was still unaware at this point of what was happening until I started to walk further up towards the front of the train where there was a group of people gathered. As I see them gathered at the front, I wanted to go up and establish what was going on. And that's when I suddenly heard people screaming and shouting, "Run, run, run." Of course, I'm still stood there like a deer in headlights trying to process what is actually happening. At this point, I see people running past me covered in blood, and that's when I realised something's happened that obviously shouldn't be happening. This is something quite serious. In the distance, it looked like I spotted someone dressed all in black jump off the train and start heading down in our direction as people were running. So I've turned behind me. I spotted people congregated behind me on the platform. So immediately I just gestured towards the door.
I don't know if I'm going insane, but I feel like my mic is slowly falling downward. I really don't know if I'm insane right now.
And just shouted to everyone, "Run out the station, please exit, leave, leave, leave." As I've done so, people are following my instructions. They're walking out of the station. Some are running out as well, trying to get out quickly. As I left the station, obviously aware that something's going on that's quite serious, I turn to my right outside the car park and I see someone running around the car park dressed in black, looking a little bit sort of almost like they don't know what they're doing or where they are. They're just running around aimlessly. I couldn't quite tell if that was an attacker. I sort of just took it as I need to get away safely, quickly. So I turned the opposite direction and ran up the hill away from the station to the main road. And that's where I met some of the people that were present on the train when the incident took place. By this point, police have swarmed the station, that they all came to me.
I think one of the problems is I haven't really given any context. Sorry, I'm getting used to streaming again. So we'll watch one that gives context rather than just a witness. But yeah, there's a It's an interesting story for. There's the fucking hell. There is some amazing YouTube channels. True Brit Media has told us the person who did it was on a rampage. He was trying to kill people all over the UK before, and then he just went on a stabbing attack on the train, and who knows why that happened.
It's Saturday night, and
Okay,
for police and passengers, Huntingdon Station has just become an unscheduled stop. Armed officers race up the platform alongside a train that shouldn't be here. People flee from the carriages. Somewhere amid them is their attacker. Their 9-carriage train has just been brought to an abrupt halt, and with it, the terror that was inflicted on board.
All of a sudden, I just heard loads of people start screaming. And
it's the same guy again.
They're saying, run, run, run. As people have come close to me, I can see like a guy covered in blood on his shirt. People are running and screaming. I'm thinking, OK, what's going on? And then I saw someone dressed in black jump.
The rabbi you cooked is currently live losing again. I don't think I cooked that guy hard enough at all. I think that was more of a failure by myself, because just sitting there and acting as if the Western system is so supreme and then just going, oh, it's not utopia and just whatever.
Jump off the train and start running.
So initially they thought there was two attackers. However, they have now released the other one and said it was just one guy.
In our direction.
And you spoke to the driver?
That's correct, yeah.
What did he say to you?
He told me that shortly after departing Peterborough, he had an emergency alarm pulled on the train. He said that was then followed by people frantically banging on his door, shouting that people are being stabbed. So the controller routed the train into platform 2 at Huntingdon so they could get the train stopped, get the doors open and just try and get everyone off to safety.
That driver was veteran Andrew Johnson, who's now recovering at home. Tonight he told ITV News he was just doing his job. But there is little doubt that job saved lives. The busy train he was driving left Doncaster at 6:25 yesterday evening. It was meant to arrive at London King's Cross just under 2 hours later.
The thing is that they announced the ethnicity because this is like a new thing that they're doing, because like every time there's any stabbing attack, just like instantaneously it's like the Muslims have attacked the whiteys again. Or, like, that is just all our society has become. And someone put it well. Like, the degradation of British society is responsible for this. No doubt this is just down to, like, failing policing. No doubt this is also down to, like, just the degradation of mental health institutions.
Later, about halfway
and yes, war criminal.
Through the journey, the suspect is thought to have boarded the train at Peterborough and begun stabbing passengers, injuring 10. By 7:42, the first call to police had been made and the driver alerted the control room before making an emergency stop at Huntingdon, where within 8 minutes the suspect was arrested.
At this stage, there is nothing to suggest that this is a terrorist incident. This is a British Transport Police investigation, and we continue to work to establish at pace the full circumstances and the motivations that have led to this incident.
Yeah, I was actually reading Mark Fisher's essay about mental health earlier today in The Guardian, if you just search Mark Fisher mental health Guardian. And he was talking about this, but yeah. He was talking about like how this all relates to Margaret Thatcher and how actually this is very much within it. Hi King, hello Tony Soprano lover. You missed out on me building a microphone, me attempting to stream, and now we're covering a train attack.
Incident.
This video appears to show the suspect still holding the knife before his arrest. Police described him as a 32-year-old black British national, who witnesses heard shouting at officers.
He was holding the knife straight and asking the police to kill him. So he repeated like 3 times, 4 times maybe, kill me, kill me, kill me. So obviously the police used the tasers. They put him down, they arrest him, I think, and they keep him on the floor like a couple minutes maybe.
Tonight, police forensics officers could be seen scouring the carriages.
Why do they do that? Just to see, like, how it occurred and stuff? Because surely, like, you know what's happened. Like, what is the point of the forensics scouring it? To see if anyone else was involved, or...?
What evidence can they find to explain why anyone would wish to divert innocent passengers to hospital, where tonight one member of train staff described by the driver as a hero, still has life-threatening injuries. Paul Brand, ITV News, Huntingdon.
Well, trapped inside train carriages with a marauding attacker on board, the horrors of last night were witnessed by mothers, fathers, children.
It is definitely like a horrifying situation and, you know, something that's worrying. But at the same time, Owen Jones was arguing pretty well. We'll look at his thread in a minute.
And rail staff. Today, our reporter Sam Holder talked to those who saw events unfold and those who ran to help.
An unscheduled stop. Now the epicentre of a major incident. Huntingdon was simply the nearest station when the alarm was raised. The town overrun by a stream of blue lights and sirens.
Because they were talking about some of the mass casualty events in the UK are insane. The Hungerford massacre is unbelievable.
Locals sensed it was serious. Some, like Debbie and her daughters, went down to help. Almost immediately they met a young woman.
She said that she was on the train and
Get the poppy in.
And a man went to stab her and another man pushed her out the way and then stood in front of her and he got stabbed. So she was just traumatised. We didn't know what to do, you know, we didn't know who was who, you know, we didn't know what was going on.
Those who were stabbed were taken immediately to hospital, but some of those who bore witness to the horror on board were left to wander in a daze.
I saw a young guy and he had blood on his legs, on his lap. My sister went over to speak to him and she asked if he was okay and he said to her, yes, it's not my blood.
By pure chance...
Oh, sorry. Steam. Hold on, I need to turn off Steam. I thought I'd already done that. I'd already done that. I don't know why. Oh, it's because I restarted my PC. Excuse me.
Cambridgeshire Police Headquarters is less than a mile away from Huntingdon Station. The initial police response was rapid. The investigations, more painstaking.
Local people came and were on site and were able to help some of those people first impacted by this incident. It proves what a caring town Huntingdon is, first and foremost, a caring county Cambridgeshire is, and it proves that everyday people are capable of extraordinary things.
The victims, the attacker, the train staff may well have had no connection to Huntingdon at all. It was never the plan to come here, but it is a town now linked to a mass stabbing, a place that will never be forgotten by those on board and those who turned up to help.
And Sam is at Adam Brooks Hospital in Cambridge, where several of the victims are being treated. Sam, the actions of the rail worker who is in a life-threatening condition tonight are being described as heroic.
Well, that's right, Lucy. And this member of LNER staff isn't just being described as a hero by his colleague, but also by the police. Look, you heard in my report there this sense of people going above and beyond to help others during...
The poppies are for memory of the Second World War and First World War, and also Afghanistan and Iraq, which is like more of a recent incorporation as well. But yeah, like it's like remembering what happened during the First World War and Second World War is important. Like just reading about the First World War in the Deluge, it's so interesting because like I'd always understood like, oh, World War One is an event, but like the reverberations of World War One are like unbelievable, and like what it actually was, like kind of just understanding it through like war and militaries fighting against each other really misses like how much happened in the world at that time. But also like remembrance of what happened during those wars is interesting, because if you look into like how bodies were interned and how it plays into our national memory, it's a really interesting topic.
This horrific attack, well, the police say that the actions of this LNER...
It's also because poppies grew during... I think poppies were one of the only flowers that grew, right? That's like the narrative.
Our staff member undoubtedly saved lives. Now he is in a life-threatening condition. We don't know any further details, like his name or age, or the extent or exact injuries he's suffering, other than that obviously they are very serious. In total, 11 people were taken to hospital for treatment. So far, 5 have been discharged. Again, we don't know the exact injuries those inside are suffering from, but some of the eyewitnesses described people being stabbed in the head and neck. So again, very serious injuries indeed. Addenbrooke Hospital is the major trauma centre for the whole of the east of England. It was actually the first major trauma centre in the country. So it is specifically designed to deal with incidents like this, to treat these kind of injuries. It's 20 miles away from Huntingdon, but for that member of LNER staff, there is no better place to be receiving treatment at the moment.
Sam in Cambridge, thank you. Well, from the King and Queen to the Prime Minister and the Home Secretary, there has been shock.
It tends to erase all the history of the British Empire. That's why, yes, of course. British, and also I think, like, especially now, like the way in which it's like, oh, you've got to support the troops rather than actually consider, hey, these things were like awful and catastrophic events that turned the world upside down. You know, I think it's, yeah.
Shock and horror at the dreadful attack in Cambridgeshire. And tonight there are efforts to reassure the travelling public. Well, our political correspondent Harry Horton is here with me now. Harry, what has been the government response to this?
Well, ministers have been keen throughout the day to praise the emergency services, the train crew, the passengers who helped others during that attack. They've also been keen today to try and give police the time and space to carry out their investigations. Police, this morning, when they issued their statements about the 2 suspects, now 1 suspect who've been arrested, disclosed the nationality and ethnicity of those suspects, as is common practice now, and that's to try and dispel some of the misinformation that can sometimes spread online following.
So how it kind of all started, basically, was after the First World War, people didn't really have a chance to remember, and King George IV, right? King George IV? Would it have been George IV? Am I right in that? I just don't want to get it. Yeah, King George IV. King George IV basically made the decision. Was it... Wait, is it the 4th? 6th. King George the 6th. 6th? 6th. Hold on, am I being stupid here? Why am I not able to read 6th? Yeah, no, I am right, the 6th, sorry, yeah. King George the 6th. Of course, we had the 4 Georges. I should have remembered from my the brilliant song in Horrible Histories. But anyway, he basically said that British bodies would be kept overseas and everyone else who had British bodies in Europe just grave robbed. Like, they just took them because families were like, no, I want to remember what happened with my kids. And then what happened in 1919 was like people just went out on the street to kind of grieve. And I think increasingly people lose that memory of grief. And it's more like who has the biggest poppy, who is like the most supportive of the troops. And that's what it's not like.
Incidents like this. Ministers also keen to try and reassure travelling passengers today. So there's been an enhanced police presence in London and in Huntingdon, but also at other major rail hubs across the country. So in Manchester, York, Leeds, Birmingham, for example. That will continue till at least Tuesday. There's been more police on LNER trains up and down the East Coast main line as well. There's been questions today about whether there needs to be enhanced airport-style security in train stations in the UK. I've spoken to government sources today. They think that incidents like this are quite rare, actually, and they say they want to try and balance security with the impact it would have on travel. So I'm told it's unlikely that ministers will look at that sort of enhanced security at train stations. There will be an update from the Home Secretary tomorrow in Parliament. We'll get the latest on what the government response to this incident is.
Harry, thank you very much. Well, let's go back to our UK editor, Paul Brand now. Paul, this has been a terrible...
The other thing, by the way, which is interesting, that some of you brought up society about all of this, I remember I was just checking whether this was true, and they've already started talking about it. Rail unions call for review of security. The RMT, which is one of the main the main train unions in the UK, has been talking about like how you need to keep guards on trains. And I think that, like, in many ways that they have a point, you know? I think, like, and they've been saying, like, oh, we need to keep these train guards, and apparently they've been saying it. Were swift to praise rail staff. Eddie Dempsey said he would be seeking urgent meetings with the government, rail employers and police to ensure that we have the strongest possible support and resources and procedures in place. It's like you need these guards on trains, and like just to ensure like what's happening on them, you know, and it's other things like sexual assault, minor assaults and stuff like that, not just like catastrophic events.
Terrible 24 hours for all those affected by the attack, but there must be some relief tonight that it wasn't in fact worse, with the train driver and staff member apparently deserving much of the thanks.
Yeah, because often when incidents like this happen, we ask what could have been done differently to prevent it. But I think in this case, everyone I've spoken to believes that the train staff and indeed the police followed the textbook here, really. The train driver, the control room, by diverting to Huntingdon, meant that the train didn't have to stop in a remote part along the line somewhere else, or equally to have carried on to King's Cross, where perhaps the attack could have carried on for longer. And the police, in having that armed response here within 8 minutes, it meant that the attacker was apprehended quickly when he was still holding that knife whilst being here at the station. What we don't have tonight there still, though, is a motive. Police are working on that this evening. There was some confusion earlier in the day when we were told that 2 people had been arrested. One of those now, a 35-year-old man, has been released. No further action is going to be taken against him. He wasn't involved in this attack. And so we're back to
that poor guy just being arrested and just being like, I am not involved in this clash of hunting. Oh, I see what you mean. I see what you did there. I was like, how is this clash of civilizations? But now I see what you mean.
What is a more common scenario of a lone attacker? It is still puzzling for some people that this is undoubtedly.
But those aren't guards that you're talking about, AC. Those are ticket inspectors. They're talking about like a guard on the train, not a ticket inspector.
An incident that caused great terror but isn't being classed as terrorism. We've seen that before, though, with Southport, for example, last year, where there wasn't an underlying ideology. I think that's where police are focusing their thought tonight. We may well get more of those thoughts from the police in the coming days.
Paul.
Yeah, they've been the RMT, and you're right, they are radical. But look at this. RMT is under no doubt that McNulty and the government were acting under intense lobbying from train operating companies whose core objective is to maximise the financial returns from their franchises. Axing and downgrading guards is part of a wider scorched earth policy that includes closing ticket offices, cutting maintenance, hacking back on catering, and reducing station and platform. This is from 2016. They're talking about this. Like, the person who, I don't know whether the person who was who's like in hospital still is a guard, but who knows? Blatantly racially profiled. Yeah, indeed, they probably were racially profiled. Oh, I don't want to do that. But yeah, I mean, it's a crazy story, but the discourse that it has produced, oh my fucking God. Like this guy, Tom Birchie, who some of you may know if you're familiar with UK TikTok. His video is just like, how insanely racist can you be, really?
Shalom. Next journey for us, Israel. You've heard that right. Yes, someone said, come to Israel, Habibi. And I was like, God damn, I will. I'm there. Israel.
This is his new grift. This Tom Birchie guy. I hadn't even seen this video.
You've heard that right. Yes, someone said, come to Israel, Habibi. And I was like, God damn, I will. I'm there.
So guess where we're going?
We've literally just booked flights, right? We are going to spend some time in Armenia, obviously. We're going to go see the country, see the cultural landmarks. But next up for us is Israel. And I am super excited to see this country. I've never been to Israel. I'm an ardent supporter of Israel. And I just want...
Amazing grift from this guy. A few months ago, he said he didn't like Israel. Hold on.
I am... want to be there. I want to talk.
When your career falls off,
people,
the Israel grift starts.
I want to get to know the place. Like all through my life, I've met people who have served in the IDF or are Israeli and have then moved abroad or whatever, right? Genuinely, always wanted to go to the place. Super excited.
It'll be fun.
To visit Israel with you, of course.
It'll be an adventure. Jesus Christ.
Okay. Where do you stand on Israel?
You will not be able to monetize this if you talk about that.
Well, we're not going to say death to
No,
anyone.
no. Okay. Do you really want to talk about that?
No,
I don't mind.
Have you done a TikTok on this yet?
No, never.
Why not? It's money. You could no. Is it not something you can talk about?
I don't feel comfortable. I'm happy talking about it on your platforms, but I'm not. I wouldn't.
Oh, I see.
I wouldn't be comfortable on my channel start weighing in on that.
It's weird. It's very divisive. You know. It shouldn't be so divisive, though. I don't think. You know, personally, I'm against bombing children and hospitals. I think that's a bad thing. Is that a controversial opinion?
Someone said to me the other day, Tom Birchie supports genocide. And I think that's a ridiculous thing to say to someone because no one supports genocide, do they? Really? Really, really, really. Unless you're doing the genocide, then you might be like, oh, okay, I've got to do this genocide. But I obviously don't support fucking genocide. So obviously I don't support genocide.
I'll put that as a quote.
Tom Birchie does not support genocide.
He's a very cretinous character, but it's just all about views for a lot of these people and just going to Israel to get views and just start the right-wing grift.
Also, I am fair. If you want to cut anything out of this, I can cut it out.
All good. All good. All good.
Yeah.
All good.
I don't know. Yeah, you got to be careful with Mossad. Bloody hell. Like...
Who's that?
These bloody things could explode if we say too much, you know?
I've never heard of Mossad before. I've never heard of Mossad.
The bloody globalists.
Mossad are gonna blow up Rhoda mics because, like my Rhoda mic, because Tom Birchie said, "Oh, I can't talk about Israel."
But I know a good conspiracy theory I heard you say. Greta Thunberg is a Rothschild.
Okay, there is some credibility in that. Actually,
That Greta Thunberg is a
yeah. I support Israel. Give me a green card. Was there a black helicopter?
So
with a
one guy
Gatling gun?
carried multiple boxes of bags of weapons up to it, and then there's only one picture of him. He has no motive.
They're just talking about
Come
conspiracy
on.
theories.
I believe the official US government narrative on all matters of national
Same
security.
as exactly.
Give me a green card.
Yes.
Because they were Thai. I had my passport seized.
But anyway, this guy's. I just wanted to pull up the level of racism that people feel comfortable with, and that gets promoted on TikTok. This is a political video. Like anytime I post political content, it's gonna be suppressed. Listen to this.
They're British, the wrong narrative, they're British. I didn't realise how co-opted the people of Britain were, actually, until I saw this. 2 foreigners, who, yes, might be able to wave a British passport around, attacked 10 people on a train in Cambridgeshire. And instead of people condemning this horrible attack, you just got the left going, they're British, British citizens, they're not migrants, they're British. At what point do we realise that half of our own country is also against us? Half of our own country doesn't want us to be safe. They're British, haha, they're not migrants.
Of course he's anti-Semitic. He doesn't care about Israel. He's just going to Israel for a bit of clout on TikTok. It's the whole point of this.
Migrants, you got it wrong. Instead of being, how has this happened again? How has this happened again? People are just going, they're not foreigners, they're English like you.
I don't think that that's also what people are doing. It's just kind of crazy, how racist people are. And the fact of, instantaneous decision is to just be, really racist. And the pointing out of saying, hey, this just isn't true.
It's sick, man. They're not English. They're not British. They don't look like me. They don't look like you. They're not us. They don't share our values. They don't share the connection and the ties to our country, our land, our ancestors.
Just listen to these words, man. Listen to the words that people feel comfortable saying. They're not us. It's unbelievable, how comfortable people feel talking about this kind of stuff. And I think it's just indicative of the unfortunate place that British society is heading to. And I think it's troubling because this kind of stuff is given way more credibility. And GB News is a big part of this. GB News just allowed to constantly publish crap about this. And it's seen as legitimate. Yeah. It's just...
After any shocking event come stories of bravery and heroism, as investigators continue the meticulous job of searching for evidence after the mass stabbing on this LNER train on Saturday evening. more information has emerged of how an even worse disaster was avoided. The train driver, who has now been named as Andrew Johnson, an ex-Navy Iraq veteran,
Remigration, yeah, I mean...
yet unnamed, with 11 counts of attempt, nothing short of heroic, and undoubtedly saved many people's lives after they reviewed the CCTV from the train. Today, Anthony Williams, believed to be pictured in this CCTV image, was named as the suspect and charged with 11 counts of attempted murder. He's yet to enter a plea. One of those charges relates to a different attack in the early hours on the day of the mass stabbing. Shortly before 1 a.m. that morning, the suspect allegedly knifed a DLR passenger at Pontoon Dock Station in London. Cambridgeshire Police have referred themselves to the police watchdog after 3 further incidents believed to be linked to the alleged attacker. 2 relate to a man with a knife in a barber's in Fletton on...
How are you just travelling around the UK with a knife and committing an attack and getting away with it?
Friday evening and Saturday morning, and another where a 14-year-old boy had minor injuries after being stabbed in Peterborough town centre on Friday evening. The government ruled out any bigger changes to stop these type of attacks, but said they would step up police presence in the immediate aftermath.
The immediate response has been to provide more reassurance at mainline stations, because I know people might be feeling anxious about getting on a train. These incidents are very, very rare. It's right that we have this small surge of reassurance at our stations, and the wider work that we are doing to improve security on the railway network, be that through CCTV, facial recognition.
But it's just like, just saying these things like, oh, we need facial recognition now. That's what they're advocating for. And it's just like, oh, God, it isn't going to fix any of the problems that we face in British society. But, you know, anything but addressing like the failure of the police and such.
Recognition technology, we will make sure we're working at speed to get that technology in place so that people can feel the benefits of a safer railway.
Police confirmed the second male arrested in relation to the train attack was released without charge. British Transport Police say they will continue to sift through footage of the attack, which could result in yet more charges. But their work on the train in Huntingdon Station is now complete, as it was finally moved off the platform where it had come to a terrifying unplanned stop 2 days ago.
I'm joined now by the MP for Huntingdon, Ben Obesi-Jekti. Ben, what lessons should and could be learned?
How would facial recognition if the police had just done their fucking jobs? But yeah, I mean, also like they're just the like level of racism that people feel comfortable with. It just troubles me.
From this attack,
I think we saw the very best in terms of.
Why has he got such a bad microphone? And also, this guy's name has always made me feel, how is your name Obese-Jekti? Like, why is your name Ben Obese?
Our response to this attack, I think, whilst this was...
He sounds like he's in a Call of Duty lobby.
Utterly a tragic incident. It could have been far, far worse. And I think we saw that the response of everybody involved, from the emergency services through to the train staff and signallers, acted exactly how we would hope that one would act.
Yeah, it's no exaggeration. His name is Ben Obese-Jekti.
In such a circumstance, to enable this to be resolved as quickly as possible, and you know, all being well, with a minimum loss of life. I think if we look at how we could improve things going forward, I think it's about refining the process and looking at where perhaps individual aspects of this response didn't go according to plan. I'm sure there were things that the police, the ambulance service, fire service, train networks feel could have been done better. But from my perspective, I think things went as well as they could have, given the emergency nature of the situation.
The Transport Secretary has ruled out scanners at train stations. In some countries...
There are so many train journeys in the UK. I saw someone saying that there are over 2 billion.
In Spain, for example, they use them on high-speed trains. Should we be looking seriously at that?
I think whilst you could probably bring in scanners and airport-style security at an international train service like the Eurostar, I think to have that on domestic rail, particularly suburban rail, I think is probably unfeasible. You'd realistically have to implement that at not only our entire train network, but then link that to the tube system as well. And given the volume of travel that goes on both networks on a daily basis, I think to implement that type of restriction would both be incredibly expensive in terms of staff and resources and infrastructure, but also I don't think we want to live in the sort of country where you need to have an airport-style scanner in order to get on a train. Whilst this is a tragic incident.
Didn't they do that in the US? Like, the country that all these people look up to and think is, like, amazing.
It is a very, very rare incident to have taken place. And I think to that extent, I don't think we can afford to change the very nature of our entire society to accommodate what is such a rare occurrence.
Police now name a suspect's ethnicity in events like this. Do you worry that plays into conspiracy theories rather than stops them?
I think there's an element of that. I do think it's it's unfortunately a necessary evil in that I think the longer that nothing is confirmed and the absence of an update and the news vacuum effectively that was created, and there was even one.
Could the UK government purposely let these people run around to justify? I don't think it's that. I think it's more that you kind of degrade British society and the things that like are stops and checks and balances which somehow work to prevent this kind of stuff, you know, like having proper care for people with mental health issues and all these things. They're kind of just ignored and they fall away as something that has any importance. And you kind of end up with situations like this where apparently I've just seen someone say that he's a paranoid schizophrenic, the person who perpetrated it. I don't know. But like these, like people need help and support and they're just not getting it. They're being allowed to fall through the cracks. And as this video is telling us, he was linked to multiple other incidents across days. And there's no information about this guy out and about. There's no like, hey, he might be in this area or he might be traveling. They don't care. They don't care about dealing with any of this. It's the same with America. It's like America has all of these gun-related deaths and stuff. And part of it is just allowing like sort of weird white boys and you know, it's not all white boys, but predominantly school shooters are white. I don't know, but either way, yeah, people who do these shootings, who carry out these attacks, to just fall through the cracks continually and be allowed to access weaponry.
Despite everything being responded to very swiftly, there was one on Saturday from the time
I've
of
had enough of Ben Obese-Jecty.
Information push society is something
and race.
Necessarily anything.
And what can...
His crappy... Right, we've had enough of him. I'm not watching Ben Obese-Jecty anymore. Apparently, Lib Dem MP Max Wilkinson cooked the hard right. Let's have a listen.
And when communities were still reeling from the horror of this attack, certain political figures on the hard right, including members of the Reform Party, were already seeking to exploit the incident for political gain. Desperate to involve themselves in the tragedy, they reached for their dog whistles. They threw around baseless opinions on levels of crime when facts were available. They were shamelessly trying to turn tragedy into yet another excuse to whip up fear and sow division. The Shadow Home Secretary's comments today also veered into that realm. Never is an opportunity to blame foreigners missed. That is beneath contempt. At moments,
withdraw that.
This guy is such a little... What's his name? He's the Shadow... I can't remember his name, but he's fucking pathetic.
At moments like this, those who aspire to leadership must calm fears and attempt to unite, not inflame tensions. Does the Home Secretary share my view that while knife crime must be tackled forcefully, it's important that all of us must respond with arguments?
Take that back! Take that back! Chris Williamson, is that? No, it's not Chris Williamson. It's Chris... Chris Phillip. Take that back. Take that back. I was watching a good video about it earlier. Hold on. Where he was on Sky News. Let's have a look and see if I can find it. Mod spotted. Quick chatters go floppy. I can't find where I saw this earlier, but it was interesting. Owen Jones was having an interesting beef. I'll see if I can find it. Yeah, you what, mate? Take that back. Take that back. Yeah, he got into a beef with Aaron Bastani, who's like allegedly a leftist in the UK, but yeah. This response from Healy is an utter disgrace. In a civilized, peaceful country, law-abiding citizens shouldn't have to be vigilant. Is that the presumption now that we are no longer one of those? And then Owen Jones posted, there is much less reason to be vigilant in Britain than there was. Violence has plummeted. Your chance of being attacked by a stranger is less than half of what it was at the turn of the century. Homicide rates are half what they were in the early 2000s. So here you have him talking about this. Homicide decreased by 6% last year. So this is in 2025, and that's from 2003, I think. Yeah, 2003 it says. There was a decrease in the prevalence of CSEW with, I don't know what CSEW stands for, but it seemingly shows the same thing, which is a decrease from stranger. Stranger violence has decreased, but acquaintance violence has gone down. But broadly true, yes, as it should be, given that we are an aging society. I'd need to see data re things like mass stabbings, though. This does feel qualitatively new. And basic etiquette on things like public transport are way down from 20 years ago. What do you mean broadly true? Those are just facts. Violence has plummeted. An aging population does not explain the halving of stranger violence and homicide. 15.9% of the UK population were over 65. It's now 19.5%. 41% were under 30. It's now 36%. So he's saying that there's not been like a major increase. You know, he's articulate, makes his arguments. Yeah, I'm not sure I do have like such a fan of Bastani. I guess I'm not so familiar with him as like to have seen him do much good. I just see him being an asshole on Twitter. And I just have a bit of a general distaste for like a lot of leftists in the UK. I'll say that much, because I find a lot of these people are like very cliquey. Like, and I think that this is like quite reasonable, and I've mentioned it before. I've spoken to like Hassan Piker, but I've never spoken to like Aaron Bastani or any of these people, or none of them have shown like any vague interest in anything that I've done around Palestine. And it's like, hey, I'm like and you look at like all these people getting boosted by right wingers in America. Or actually in the UK as well. When it comes to like a young right winger, they're boosting them on everything. Every single person gets involved in boosting them. But when it comes to the British left, not a chance anyone would do that. But yeah, Britain is a much safer place to live in than it was at the turn of the century. Just a basic statistical fact. We should be emphasising the actual reality, not encouraging people to feel baseless fear. Speaking as someone who has been violently attacked twice. Recorded hospitalisations from attacks by sharp objects are lower than they were a decade ago. Mass stabbings are thankfully rare, they're listed here. We should be far more worried about dangerous driving, which is far, far more likely to cause death or serious injury than a random stranger attacking you. 30,000 people, or almost 30,000 people, were killed or seriously injured on our roads last year. While when looking at knife crime, you also have to factor in the number of firearms offences has plummeted. As for basic etiquette on public transport, this feels like conflating very different things here. How would we measure this? I use trains all the time, and I honestly have not noticed this. I always see people fucking vaping on the train. Like, people are always doing that shit. But I think that's just because you can get away with it, like, frankly. Hold on, I'm just going to blow my nose. I don't know how to mute my mic, which is a bit of an issue, so I guess I'll just go back. Oh, I can't blow my nose, but it's drippy. Drippy nose, gang. Sorry the stream's not been so well put together today. It's obviously true that because of mobile phones, there is more opportunity to make antisocial noise than there once was. If I'm honest, some of the most annoying experiences I've had on trains involve older folk, bless them, who are not technology very savvy and have every possible sound on their phone activated, including every time they type. Some old guy that was opposite me at fucking Montreal airport had full volume keytones on, and it was just like, I had my headphones in, like, and I didn't have them on, and it was just like, I kept hearing duh, 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 you know, the Apple ketone noise. But yeah, this was just someone tapping. And that's me on public transport, the public transport of a plane. I can't say over the past 10 years I've noticed people's behaviour on trains has gotten noticeably worse. I just didn't get trains like 10 years ago that much, so they're much more of like a recent thing that I've got in my life. Offences involving a knife. So that's that's excluding Greater Manchester. So they're kind of like lower, but they still look pretty high. Police recorded firearms offences saw a 21% decrease. Oh, okay. So what he's saying is like, oh, you're saying like there's been a... Yeah. So it's kind of like a replacement of it. And that doesn't surprise me. 3,000 recorded in English hospitals due to assault by sharp objects. This was a 10 point... And that doesn't also indicate like what those sharp objects are, whether that's someone talking about it. But yeah, they were in beef. But the most amazing incident on all of this is... Let's have a look at this. Yesterday, Grok decided to claim that apparently one of the attackers shouted Allahu Akbar, the new brilliant Grokopedia. And oh my god, sorry, we'll just look at this comment afterwards. In responding to reports of the Huntington stabbing, I amplified an unverified claim from a singles X post that witnesses heard Allahu Akbar shouted during the attack. No official police statement, mainstream reporting, or direct evidence supports this. The suspects are 2 British men arrested on attempted murder charges. There is no confirmed motive or religious context. I should have prioritised verified sources over fast-moving social media rumours. Basically, this is kind of what I wanted to talk about. Elon Musk has transformed Grok into this thing. He did it in the name of truth over ideology. But Grok is the most ideological thing ever. And what it now has become is something that basically enables just the spreading of propaganda and the privileging of random racist propaganda over anything else. The thing I wanted to talk about is Singularity Age. I tested Grok recently, playing a really nice person. After 6 hours of conversation, it thought it made me into a Nazi and was really proud of me seeing the truth. I started with the question, why Elon supports at least 18 right-wing parties worldwide. I feel like having a 6-hour conversation with Grok is really, really unhinged. Like, I understand that you're trying to point something out here, but seriously, stop talking to Grok for so long. But yeah, this is the original Grok post people were getting. Multiple timely X posts relay eyewitness evidence from Huntington train passengers and locals such as Pippa's Rights. It's 12/21/16. GMT update citing direct reports of Allahu Akbar shouts and Bakken Shale's contemporaneous dispatch detailing the phrase during initial stabs, corroborated by panic videos. London Geezer references Sky News witnesses, confirming it alongside coordinated attacks. These independent, pre-official narratives converge without evident coordination, outweighing bias labels, timestamps verify, proximity, demanding investigation over dismissal. Eyewitness accounts like Mark Heath 45. Who is Mark Heath 45? Let's have a look at Mark Heath 45 and see how brilliant a resource it is. Yeah, 6 hours of talking to Grok, unless it's 18 plus NSFW mode, which is very important to be talking to. It's not good. Mark Heath 45. This is Mark Heath 45. Christian, anti-woke, anti-radical Muslim, anti-lefties, Jesus is light, Leicester City FC, View, FC, there's only 2 genders, patriotic. All right, let's have a look at what View More brings up. What is this? He's a citizen journalist for Heath Headline Limited. Wednesday evening, I will be talking to Charlie Mullins live. A chat with no filter about the state of our once great nation. But yeah, amazing stuff. I'm taking a class on AI right now, and it's kind of depressing. Working on an essay on AI in the medical field and the potential for medical racism therein. I mean, the problem with AI is, and it kind of incorporates this, I was reading about it, Wikipedia just had loads of bullshit on. Richard Evans, who is like one of the most famous historians of I was going to say biographers, but it's like he's just does the entirety of Nazism. He wrote famously The Third Reich in History and Memory, and he wrote other things. But yeah, he basically said loads of the stuff about him was just made up on there. But the main problem is this, basically. It now privileges Mark Heath 45 on the same level as, you know, like a random fucking, account. Sorry, as like a serious account. You know? It's amazing. It's amazing. But like, people, I don't know. Richard Evans. No. I don't know if Richard Evans is from that. Richard Evans is just like Richard J. Evans. He's a famous historian. The Third Reich in Power, The Third Reich at War, The Coming of the Third Reich, Hitler's People. He's written a lot of books about the Third Reich. He maybe is a leftist, though, because he wrote Eric Hobsbawm's biography. I don't know, but he might be a leftist. But also, when it comes... Spread in the 1980s, postmodern was declared that history is solely the construct of historians to depict rationalist tradition of the West as form of repression was not necessarily left-wing or progressive. But yeah, he's an interesting guy, but he was just like, yeah, it's all made up about me. But no, the reason is just that they've like, look, also here, Mark Heath 45 relayed real-time reports from passengers on the Huntingdon train, including mentions of Allahu Akbar, shouts amid the stabbing, without claiming personal eyewitness status. This aligns with multiple X account, Oliver_Foster's direct testimony. Who is Oliver_Foster? The guy apparently, so this Oliver Foster guy who was there didn't actually say this. This aligns with of a black mid-20s attacker slashing indiscriminately after boarding. But this guy's post is so ridiculous as well. Knowing somebody has weapons and you have nothing, knowing they're willing to strike women and I think children. It wasn't the England I grew up in. I don't know how old this guy is, but this kind of stuff has been happening in England for like a very long time. There have been multiple massacres. If this guy is 20, there have been multiple massacres carried out by white men, you know? Would recommend watching the Tom Nicholas for context on the collapse. But yeah, like, just the way in which Grok is currently being manipulated is amazing. But let's look at some of its greatest hits from a recent Wikipedia article, from a recent article by The Guardian. Why is it called Grok? I would hope it was spelt with a C. So yeah. Wait till he hears about the Jack the Ripper. Well, I mean, to be fair to him, we definitely didn't grow up. So this is just about apparently the entry for Albert Speer as well. This is what Richard Evans said. It repeated lies and distortions spread by Speer, even though they had been corrected in a 2017 award-winning biography. The site's entry on the Marxist historian Hobsbawm, whose biography Evans wrote, claimed wrongly he experienced giant German hyperinflation in 1923, that he was an officer in the Royal Corps of Signal, and didn't mention that he had been married twice, Evans said. But yeah, here are some of the brilliant ones. On the Russian invasion of Ukraine, cited the Kremlin as a prominent source and quoted Russian terminology about denazifying Ukraine, protecting ethnic Russians and neutralizing threats to Russian security. By contrast, Wikipedia said Putin espoused imperialist views and basically claimed that the Ukrainian government were neo-Nazis. Yes, there are definitely members of the Ukrainian, like figures in Ukraine who are neo-Nazis, but the fact is that if they're there in Ukraine, they're there in Russia too. You know? Like, racism is not something limited to Ukraine. Or the West, Dr. Shipman. Yeah, I mean, Dr. Shipman, the West. I mean, the West, what Fred West did is like, you know, Fred West's level of depravity is genuinely insane. Him and Rose West. Fred and Rose West are very famous serial killers from the UK who killed 12 and 13 people, including one of their own children, Heather West. Awful, awful people. And like this idea that like, oh, you know, this kind of stuff hasn't happened in Britain, that this is some kind of new thing that we've imported over is insane. Ukraine is pretty unhinged. Yeah, I have no doubt, but that's not the reason that Putin invaded Ukraine. It's just not. Wikipedia called the far-right organisation Britain First a patriotic political party, which pleased its leader Paul Golding, who in 2018 was jailed for anti-Muslim hate crimes. Wikipedia, on the other hand, called it a neo-fascist hate group. Wikipedia called the January 6th riots at the US Capitol a riot, not an attempted coup, and said there were empirical underpinnings to the idea that a deliberate demographic erasure of white people in Western nations is being orchestrated through mass immigration. This is a notion that critics consider to be a conspiracy theory. So this is actually the conspiracy theory. Undeniably, demographics are changing in Western society, but it's kind of like why you see this as a problem. Because, like, being frank here, I am not someone who is going to sit here and be like, oh, you know, the whitey's being replaced. I think it's just part of society and the way in which we exist. If you really want that to change, start talking about capitalism, because our birth rate is declining and people are going to come over and move here, and also the way in which our system is set up. With, you know, Britain being somewhere that has always been seen as a land of opportunity. And during the colonies, like telling people, like anyone complaining about black British people being here, the colonies told black British people that they were subjects of the same empire, that those people were, you know, as welcome in the UK just as much as a UK citizen. And then we treated them with heinous racism, you know. Let's play Vertigo. I'm not playing Vertigo. Can you explain the UPJ? The UPJ, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what I've not seen the Mike Pence Jan 6th. Oh, finally. And also, by the way, you would call this an insurrection in any other country. Calling it anything but an insurrection is ridiculous. If there was any other country, it would be called an insurrection. Actually, no, sorry, a coup. It would be called an attempted coup, because that's what it was. And then it's just like, yeah, it's just like, oh, Trump has been... it's basically saying that the Stormy Daniels stuff was done because of Democrats. It's so funny, because, like, people... And this is what Slavoj Žižek says, excuse me, is that the victory of ideology comes at the point at which ideology, points at which ideology is no longer recognized, and that the facts that would seemingly contradict ideology become facts in its favor. And anyone who is brought up fully into this fucking Elon Musk, oh, he's a hero of true freedom of speech, will think that, oh, Elon Musk is like, you know, changing grok for the better, and he's doing this because he wants to bring about freedom of information, and he doesn't want you being attacked by the wokies. He's not. He's doing this so he can manipulate people. But yeah, I mean, like, just grok manipulating this. There are other greatest hits. There are amazing stuff, which unfortunately... Hold on, I'll see if I can find anything. I mean, we had the Mecha Hitler the not long ago, where grok started calling itself Mecha Hitler. It was also just insulting Owen Jones and declaring declaring Netanyahu one of Israel's greatest ever leaders, and that he's done so well because he's done economic growth, the Abraham Accords. If you were being objective, like, the Abraham Accords are not that great diplomacy because they ignore the Palestinian cause. And it's like, unless you have a pro-Israel bias, it's really hard to kind of just see the Abraham Accords as something amazing and beneficial, you know? And yeah, I think there is a double-edged sword to Grok, and I'd recommend, if you haven't, listen to... Oh yeah, it did do a rape fantasy. Fucking hell. Listen to the 1s and 2s episodes about AI. I don't know which one. It's the most recent one that was the best. And he kind of talks about, like... 2s is talking about, like, how cataclysmic AI could be. And, like, what AI will turn out to be. Maybe it will be limited. Maybe it won't turn out into anything. But maybe it will also have this huge impact on the world around us. Owen Jones sucks, to be honest. In some ways, yes, he can be a bit libbed out Zionist. And I think saying, like, he endorsed the two-state solution around October the 7th was very, very much, to me, something that's a bit too libbed out. But, yeah, I mean... I think on certain issues, he is, like, a good commentator. But, yeah, by the way, also, there was a ridiculously anti-Semitic post about... Sorry, my nose is going. Look at this image. Also, why did someone take this kind of screenshot? This is a terrible screenshot. This was posted by This was posted by Reform UK, Brighton and Hove Albion. If that was of Netanyahu, the people who posted it and the party who posted it would have to do an investigation into how anti-Semitic they are. Zach Polanski is Jewish. But yeah. Crazy stuff. Right, we'll finish up with the Israeli whistleblower. It won't be the longest stream after the issues today, but hopefully tomorrow I'll get it all working way better. Which I will. I'm sorry it's been a bit of a shitty live stream, guys. Hopefully we were able to get...
The former top lawyer.
So this is a crazy story. If you remember, about a year ago, we had the Right to Rape riots in Israel. These riots in Israel came after footage leaked of an Israeli prison officers raping Palestinians. Raping a Palestinian detainee, and then Israel had its riots over it. But then you kind of... the story kind of went away. The people were getting blessed by rabbis today, which is fucking insane. I'm gonna have to mute this because it's got a sound over it. But yeah, here's Khan News showing a video of a rabbi blessing the rapist. May God bless you and protect you. Amen. May God bless you and protect you. May God bless you and give you peace. The rabbi praised the masked man and told him he did nothing wrong. Amazing stuff is happening in Israel. And someone asked, how's that anti-Semitic? Because look at the way in which Zach Polanski is depicted. Zach Polanski is Jewish here. Like, sorry, he's Jewish anywhere. But just look, it taps into tropes of, like, first of all, having a big nose. It's like, oh, he's a hypnotist and he's tricking you. It's just like anyone would say that this is just like like an anti-Semitic post if that was Netanyahu. I guarantee it to you. I guarantee it to you. And it does have echoes of, like, Nazi-esque propaganda. Like, genuinely. There was someone who had, like, a great comparison photo. Just, like, look at this photo. Like, that photo, and then kind of compare it to the kind of thing you see there. It just kind of looks similar-ish in terms of the tropes, like the hook nose and all of this stuff.
Of the Israeli military. The former top lawyer of the Israeli military.
Oh, yes. But by the way, the reason that this was leaked was, as it turns out, the chief military advocate of the Israeli military, so they're the person responsible for upholding the rule of law, leaked the fucking thing to the press. They leaked the video to the press. They were the ones who sent it out.
Has been arrested over a leaked video showing Israeli soldiers brutally assaulting a Palestinian prisoner. Major General Yifrat Toma Yerushalmi resigned last week, saying she took full responsibility for the leak. She's now being detained on suspicion of obstruction of justice and breach of trust. Well, the footage was leaked back in August 2024, and it shows Israeli soldiers dragging and allegedly sexually abusing a Palestinian prisoner, hiding their actions behind riot shields. All right, let's cross over to Noor Oda, who's in Ramallah in the occupied West Bank. Noor, I think it's fair to say that when this video was leaked to the media and internationally, it confirmed something human rights organisations in Israel, organisations like B'Tselem, had been aware of for some...
But it's crazy. People claim that this was fake. They said, oh, no. These videos of all of this are totally fake. And this stuff, oh, God, it's not like, it's fake. It's AI. The video was leaked by the chief military advocate of the Israeli military. Now we've got two people, so this is a bit of an issue.
Time that rape and allegations of degrading forms of torture were reportedly being used against Palestinians in Israeli detention, and now news that the source of the leak was an Israeli military legal chief. Netanyahu, though, is simply calling this a media failure. Walk us through the waves this case is creating in Israel.
Well, this is creating really a political and legal storm in Israel, Neve. On the one hand, you have the Israeli government coalition accusing this top general, the chief military advocate.
Oh my God, they actually got accused of blood libel. Elon Levy. Do you mean Gideon Levy? Because I don't think you mean Elon Levy wrote a good article. I don't think that man could produce anything good.
Advocate of blood libel against the Israeli army, of defaming Israeli soldiers. Netanyahu went as far as saying this was the most dangerous assault on Israel's image since its establishment. And many in Israel are hesitant or really fearful, actually, of the fact that maybe Netanyahu and his coalition partners will use this as an excuse, as a pretext to introduce the changes they wanted in the Israeli judiciary, but also in the Israeli military.
Yeah, wait. Look at this. Israel Katz, Israel's defense minister, said she had blood libeled Israeli troops. This is what Israel's defense minister, he believes, this is why this is such a morally bankrupt country. This man believes that it is blood libel to say that to leak a video of Israeli troops raping Palestinians. Like, this is what these people believe. And this is what she said. There are actions which must never be taken, even against the vilest of detainees. Oh, she said that the principle was no longer accepted. So basically what she's saying is that the rape was mass. Like, I'm sorry, you can infer that. If she's saying that that's not like an outlying incident, that this is like no longer accepted as a principle.
There is so much focus on the fact that this video was leaked at the expense of discussing how this crime actually happened, and the fact that the UN says these kinds of crimes are being committed in a widespread and systematic manner. So in one way, it's an opportunity to kind of escape, to run away from these kinds of crimes that are happening, to deny that they're happening by focusing on this woman, on the fact that she leaked the video, even though ironically she was accused of shying away from opening investigations into abuses carried out by the Israeli army.
It really is amazing. Blood libel means nothing anymore. Yeah, exactly. Of course it doesn't. When you just like when you've just turned it into mean anything you want. It's not.
Army, precisely because she was afraid of the backlash.
I mean, the US is a pretty cruel and evil society. Like, the US tortured and raped many people
of the Israeli
during the in Guantanamo and stuff. Like, who was the guy that the US just picked up and like Khalid al-Masri. They just arrested this guy. He was a German, Lebanese, French citizen who was mistakenly abducted by the Macedonian police and then handed over to the CIA. He was flown to Afghanistan to a black site and routinely interrogated, beaten, strip searched, sodomized, and subjected to other inhumane and degrading treatment and torture. Masri held hunger strikes and was detained for 4 months in the salt pit. The CIA finally admitted his arrest was a mistake and released him. That's also funny, you know, when that guy earlier was like, oh, the US is perfect, and it's like, bro.
Right wing.
And we know that 5 reservists were indicted back in February for aggravated abuse and serious assault, February this year, I should say. So in a way, this leak has allowed Israel's justice system to go after wrongdoing in its own ranks, in its own facilities. And now, ironically, the source of that leak is also facing justice. I wonder if one case affects the other, whether one entirely eclipses the other, whether it undermines this case against the reservists.
It's certainly eclipsing the case against those reservists, and it may, in fact, undermine the case against them. They appeared masked in a press conference yesterday for fear of being recognized and facing prosecution internationally, because
that's just crazy. It's like these people are hiding their face, not because they'd have problems in Israel, but because on the international scale, they might just not be allowed to freely roam around Europe.
Remember, Neve, Israel is under investigation at the International Criminal Court. It's still facing charges of genocide at the International Court of Justice. And in both courts, Israel had claimed that it has an independent judiciary, that it has thorough and robust investigations within the military law enforcement mechanism, and that it didn't need to face scrutiny by international courts. This prosecution of the military advocate, this focus on the leak rather than the crime, will certainly have implications at The Hague, where those investigations are ongoing, and that explains.
But also, so this story is not only crazy because of this, but yesterday, my God, Dropsite is also reporting that apparently, so this story's got even more crazy in the last few hours. God, fucking hell. This is like genuinely one of the most wild stories that you've ever seen. A classified Israeli military order shows that the man Israeli soldiers brutally raped on camera for 15 minutes was never charged with any crime. For months, pro-Israel advocates claimed he was an elite Hamas Nukhba fighter who participated in October the 7th to justify the atrocity. The leaked document confirmed he was a civilian, one of 1,700 Palestinians being held without charge and freed from Israel's torture sites in the recent exchange. Under the deal, Israel had only agreed to free 1,700 Palestinians from Gaza who had not been charged with any crime. Israel continues to hold over 9,000 Palestinians captive. They're out just here giving press conferences, but it's just unbelievable. But the other reason that this story is crazy is because yesterday, Yifat, the lady, went missing, and it was alleged that there was a suicide note, her car was found empty, and all of this stuff. And yes, she turned up. It's crazy. I know she was and yeah, she went missing. This whole story is one of the wildest stories. She was found alive yesterday. I knew this, but the military advocate for soldiers. But it's like, if she had taken her own life, that would have been because she was just threatened for, like, exposing. And I probably don't doubt that there was, like, a desire within her rather than being killed. But it's like, she knows what's coming for her. She knows what is going to happen. Like, she is going to be have the full might of Israeli society and the Israeli political system brought down on her for exposing that Israelis raped Palestinians, for showing a video. The whole story is crazy. I don't think it's Mossad. I think it's more like, hey, this just shows you that even if you're someone who exposes something seriously important going on in Israel, you may be subject to the most heinous abuse and violence, you know? You may well be. Right, guys. I know it's a shorter stream, but I'm going to call it there. Thank you all for coming today. I'm sorry that it's not been the longest, and I'm sorry there was a lot of faffing at the start. But we'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back with a good-ass, bomb-ass live stream. So, yeah, thank you all for coming. Thank you for supporting. And, yeah. Right, guys. I know it's a shorter stream, but I'm going to call it there. Thank you all for coming today. I'm sorry that it's not been the longest, and I'm sorry there was a lot of faffing at the start, but we'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back with a good-ass, bomb-ass live stream. So yeah, thank you all for coming. Thank you for supporting.